This is Lotto Super 8, and today I'm going to talk about what is happening with the YouTube's quarters APIs regarding the end of the Groovy bots. Because recently, Groovy bots is stating that they are ending their service by August 30th, and YouTube said that they are using the APIs to their financial advantage. For example, they are using the quarters whenever they play. They use the word URLs to avoid the advertisements and the method of watch time. In fact, the bot about the Groovy has more than 250 million users using every day probably, but like they cover 250 million users. And the fact is, it could have been solved with a much better solution without banning them. For example, if they use the APIs commercially, they should pay what they have gained periodically. For example, if someone's paying for like premium using the bot and take the quota from YouTube, you should be paying 45% to 55% to Google, and they pay off the watch time based on the watch time and to the creators who are affected. It should be like the YouTube Premium, because the monthly YouTube Premium you can pay like out of in Hong Kong 68 Hong Kong dollars is like paying 55%, all the way 55%, which is more than 34 Hong Kong dollars. And whenever you get a high watch time to a channel, they pay a bit. For example, if you only watch 2 videos over a month and they're equal, they're probably paying 17 to 70 Hong Kong dollars for each of 2 videos. And they could do the same to the YouTube APIs whenever they use them commercially. And then they do not need to remove everything from the Discord bot, because the impact of Discord bots has music bots, especially that, have impacted like more than 100 million probably users at once. Why? Because everyone will probably use Discord bots for music like I guess once per week, and whenever YouTube is going to shut it down, they might be like stopping a bit of losing the money, but in long term it might be like nobody is willing to use the music session anymore, because they are not willing to watch the advertisements of ridiculous. Yeah, you can tell that. And I think that, although I almost never use music boards recently, or I don't use that recently, I still think that removing these boards will impact Discord by a lot, and will likely make YouTube unable to provide a better service. That is what I think. In general, they should have been asking payments on the bots, monetizing them. For example, if they have to pay a month of $10, Google should ask them $5.5, or based on how many quarters they have used it, to them, and they pay back to the content creators. That should be fair, and they should include the watch times whenever they use the bots. For example, if I watch an hour video through the API, this should be counted into it, and everyone should be solved. And that's all. And hopefully, I want to see the music bots still alive, rather than using the Apple Plus to use the YouTube. Well, it's pretty like to even use the membership, because 30%. Like if I pay $10, the creators only get 7, even for the super chat. That's the case.